What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, this is TWA Motorsports, and today we are back on the G8. So what are we planning on doing today? Well, we got all kinds of help out here, as you can see. He's wrenching on the front. Yeah. Yep. We ended up taking the fog lights out because I thought, man, as long as this bumper's out, we might as well replace the fog lights. So he is sanding on the fog lights just like we did on the headlights, and we're gonna dress those up as well. I also got some bulbs for those, that way everything matches on the front. But besides that, he's gonna do that. I think we're gonna get the spoiler on tonight. So what we need to do is we need to go grab the spoiler. We need to flip it over, clean it off really good with some adhesive remover, which I've got out here. And then I'm gonna put some two-sided tape on it, just like the factory did. So let's go grab it. I'll show you kind of what it looks like before we put it on. I also got some new clips that I ordered from GM, and yeah, we're gonna hope that panel bond holds it, and I don't see why it wouldn't. That stuff's pretty strong. So either way, I'll show you guys kind of what I'm talking about once I get the two-sided tape on there, and then before we put it in place. Let's take a look at what we got. So as I told you, we got new clips from GM, and I'll try to list that in the description down below. And then I did put some two-sided tape on all the way across, just like the factory had it. And man, this thing is super snug. So I think we're gonna be good here. Getting it in place, hopefully, that's the same way. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna take some of that 3M adhesive remover and go over where the two-sided tape's gonna set, just to make sure that we have good contact, and then we'll try to put this thing on. Now, generally, getting one of these edges started is always a pain. I did clean this as well, but still, what a pain. I have to pause the video while I peel this up. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a razor blade. We got it. Now, is that the best way to do it? Probably not. Generally, I like to leave the leads on there, something my paint and body guy showed me, but here I am not doing it. So we're gonna have to get pretty rough. I got one side. This side doesn't act like it wants to go in like it's supposed to. That stud is not perfectly lined up. But we are on. So, pop the trunk again. We need to put the two 10mm on the end. We're setting good now. Yeah, we'll put our two 10mm on here on the end. And of course, now we have to paint correct the spoiler, so. We're just gonna get these snug for now. Make sure that your clips set in. You can feel them back behind. You can't cut them loose, but you can feel them. And they're all set. Perfect. I'm not in love with the way it's setting. That's not too bad. Looks good. Next thing we got is hood struts. You guys noticed that I had to keep these, like I had a pair of vice grips on it. Go ahead and lift it up. These are pretty simple. You just gotta open up this pocket here, slide the old one off, just like a ball. And I got these off Amazon. I'll link this in the description down below. But it seems to be a pretty common problem with these. So we're gonna go ahead and replace those. All right, come on, take this, take the flathead right there. swing that thing out of the way. They probably will pull off at this point. If you just loosen it, I'll pull it off. It's really probably the worst screwdriver I've ever used. Same thing on the bottom. Alright, now just push that one on. You should just be able to push it on. Alright,
Does your water work now?
turn it. Alright, there's that. Heck, all we need to replace is one. Alright, go ahead and
That's your GT4. Dad, did you notice that was your GT4?
I didn't notice that. I may have to do it while I'm doing this. There we go. All right. Another thing fixed. Let's see. Holy cow, they're stronger. Oh shoot. I guess I shouldn't have done that. No, yeah. Now try it. They even sound like they're working. Perfect. Okay, moving on. So on to the headlights. As you know, we buffed the front of these, and look, they're not perfect, but they're way better. So what I chose to go with are actually the same sea light, well, same brand essentially, that I just put in the gray truck. And kind of how this works, and we're gonna see together, but this is a newer design to where there's not an end on them. You see how they don't have that end where the light gets reflected, because these are projector style bulbs. Now the weird thing about the G8 is it takes the same bulb, or the same bulb will work bright and dim. So my plan here is to take this one out, and it does come with gloves, which makes me think you're not supposed to touch them, but I'm trying not to touch them, I said. We're gonna put these in here, and hopefully they're facing up and down. You want them to face straight up and down. And I don't know if we're gonna be able to get the back to go on. That is going to be close. But you can see we've got our plug in here, and it goes either way. We may have to take this back out and rearrange it, but I'm hoping that we can stuff all this in here. I think we'll be able to. And I don't know about the longevity because we're not getting a lot of air in here. And I don't even know if our backs are gonna go on, but we're gonna see. Ooh, we may get lucky here, guys. Nope. The back is hitting that. Maybe if we rearrange some stuff here. What I don't want the back to hit is the fan, and I think it might be hitting the fan. Yep. Well, it may not be hitting the fan. I don't know. We may just have to work with it. You want it to seal up if you can, because that keeps moisture obviously out of the light. I actually think I'm hitting something else. I don't think I'm hitting the fan. All right, I got it. Yeah, it fits. You know what I should have done though, is I should have waited to test these. Oh well. So same thing with the other side, screw that off, unplug the light. And then as I said, I'm using the same bulb for the bright and the dim. So you're not gonna get I don't know if these, I think if I remember right, when you turn the bright lights on this, it actually turns both lights on. So we'll just have to test it and see. Looks like we have a little more room on this side too to get bulbs in. And they are facing up and down like they're supposed to. So what we may do, I'm gonna go ahead and try to put this on, but what I was gonna say is what we may do is just test them to see if they work. And we may have to reverse, because sometimes these LEDs are polarity sensitive. So we may have to flip it over or, you know, turn the connections. But let's go, I don't know if it'll work with just one end, but we'll sure try. So let's plug it in and see what happens. Now this isn't permanent, but. All right, Cohen, go hit the headlights. Maybe one will work. Nothing? You got them on? Hit the bright. Oh, now they're on. Now hit the brights. Pull the lever back, just like we did in the truck. Oh, hoo-wee! Yeah, they're bright. They're working. Perfect. So now that we know they work, I'm gonna go ahead and line them back up, put our 10 millimeters back in, and including this little bracket down below, because we needed it out of the way to get the 10s in, but yeah, that's exciting. So remember, we got 4 of them. 2 down below, 2 up top. This bracket is like really in the way. You want to make sure you're lining up with your fender as you're going down. They don't have a ton of movement, but they do have some movement. Should have got the, I guess I should have brought my impact. And don't over tighten, guys. You don't want to snap these. That'd be pretty easy to do. Just make sure you keep pushing up against the fender as you're snugging the top ones down. Otherwise it doesn't line up here. Looks all goofy. All right, that one's in. Now we can hook this up on the bottom. So we got this bracket back in. I will tell you guys, the top of this bracket slides into the bottom of the headlight. So make sure that you get that in there. Otherwise it's not gonna wanna line up. But then there's just these 2 10 millimeters, the one that covers the bottom bolt and the one that covers the bottom bolt on the other side. So we're good and snug here. Now let's go ahead. I won't show you guys me putting the bulbs on the other side. We'll do that and get it in as well. I got both the headlights in, both the brackets in place. Now we're ready to put the bumper back on, but before we do that, we did pull the fog lights out to buff on them. So you can see them, he's sanded those down. I got new bulbs for those as well, same matching sea light. I'll list all this stuff, like I said, guys, in the description down below. But had a couple people reach out to me and say, hey, you need to put something on these headlights. I did put a little Sios on there. I didn't ceramic coat them. I guess I probably could have, but to be honest with you guys, they're not in the greatest of shape even after buffing on them. So we're just gonna keep up with them, keep them clean. Generally, if you keep them clean, it takes them a while to oxidize again. Same situation with the fog lights. They're just pitted really bad. So to me, there's no sense in it. And I've always heard that you can't put ceramic on plastic anyway. Don't know whether that's true or not. Maybe the newer ceramics, maybe that'll work. But anyway, I put some spray on there, kind of wiped it on like a ceramic coating. And that has some Sios in it. But anyway, he is cleaning the, using some of this Chemical Guys trim cleaner that I told you guys we're going to use on the rest of the truck, or on the rest of the car. This stuff here is supposed to take like all the wax and junk out of this. So he's cleaning these up before we buff we'll go ahead and buff the fog lights off camera. And then hopefully we can get them installed, make this look all nice and new, and put it back together, at least the front bumper. Now remember, when we took it off, we did have to pull the harness off. So it's just kind of tucked under the car right now, right here. I couldn't get that plug undone from the front of the car, so we just took the clips off. It's not a big deal. These clips literally just push on and place on the bumper. But I would like to, before I like commit to putting the bumper back on, I really want to test those fog lights. So that is something that we're definitely going to do before we commit to snapping that bumper back in those plastic keepers. Now I'll tell you guys that words can't describe how much I hate the way these lights mount. They just they're just kind of hokey in my opinion. So there is an up and a down. If you look at your bumper, these lights are they're not side specific, so the adjustment knob will be on the same on both sides. But literally, I have trouble a lot of the times getting these things to stay in place. Sometimes I wrap them in tape. It just depends on you know. Sometimes you flip them back and forth, see which way aligns the best. Sometimes they snap in, sometimes they don't. You can see that it doesn't want to stay in place. This is pretty common for these, so don't freak out. You may just it may be a good idea to put a little bit of black electrical tape around this. And the main reason I do that is if you're going down the road and it starts to vibrate, if it doesn't clip in, like this one actually has clipped at this point, but if it doesn't clip in, that would, you know, keep water from getting in it. Other than that, pretty self-explanatory. Just at that point you need to make sure they're straight up and down. And we'll move on to the other one. We'll get these, they just push back in. How I got these out, guys, is if you take, you can just use your fingers and push these in and then push that out. Once you get the black plastic, you do have to get the plastic out from under, or from around this, otherwise this won't come out. But let's go ahead and snap these back in, and then we'll test them as well. We're gonna attempt to probably just hook up the lights, just lay it down the front for now, I guess. Then we'll test and see that the lights work. Hopefully they do.
Well, hello.
We're just gonna plug it in. I'm worried about clipping it on the bumper here in a second, but
What?
let's see if they. All right, Colin, try to. You know where the fog light switch is? I don't even know where it's at.
What it look like?
You'll have to turn the headlights on first, and then I don't know where the switch is for the fog lights on these cars. We'll just have to. Alright, let's see if they work. No. Neither one of them are coming on. I think that's the light. Push it back in. Pull it back up. Push it back in. Pull it out. So they're not working. That makes me think maybe they're polarity specific as well.
David.
Flip them around. Still not working.
Did you hear that hot rod?
Yeah, I heard that hot rod.
That was going quick. This is mine. Oh, that's bright.
No. Oh, do you have your bright lights on, Cohen?
No.
Oh. Now turn the brights off. Well, the fog lights aren't working. I don't know what's going on. We'll just have to keep checking, see. Okay, so for some apparent reason the car needs to be running, but they're definitely working. And I didn't switch anything around. We just started the car, they started working. So flip your brights on. Okay, good. When they go off when the brights are on and back on when it dims. Okay, perfect. So now we're gonna go ahead and get the bumper in place.
Dad, this is dirty.
Yeah, it's dirty.
Yeah, the engine is really dirty.
Yeah, we need to clean it.
Yeah.
Okay, now we should be able to come up, go to the side corner. These clips right here are gonna be the hardest part, would be my guess. No, we got in there on that one. I think we're good. Somebody said that we needed to do the pool noodle trick. I don't know, maybe we do that down the road. It's where you put a pool noodle in the front to lift the front bumper and get the gap correct, but definitely looks better. I'm gonna go ahead and put the 10 millimeters in each side. So there's two here, two on the other side. The 10s and the clips up along the top, and then all the 7 millimeters along the bottom. And we should have the front bumper back on at that point. Now that we got the bumper on, we're just checking out the lights, and they make a huge difference. All right, go ahead, hit the fog lights. Woo! All right, now the brights. And back to turn the brights off. That's a big, big difference. And those headlights look so much better. All right, go to bright. And then back to dim. And then no fog lights. Those fog lights make a pretty big difference. Turn it back on. Woo! That's gonna be bright at night. All right, well, we got that accomplished, so we're gonna move on to something else at this point. So the next thing I think we're gonna do here is we got this little shark fin antenna. So that's why I paint corrected this section of the top. So you can see how much better that looks than the factory antenna. It's not even comparable, to be honest with you. But how this guy works is it's just two-sided tape. It's already painted to match, and I'll try to link this down in the description below if you guys wanna go with one of these. It's just a cleaner look for these cars, in my opinion. So it's really pretty self-explanatory, but we're gonna take this off. It just unscrews, and then it came with 2 different size bolts that you can see on the inside here to mount this new antenna. So you can see the little coiled up piece there. But before we do that, we need to get some masking tape, and we need to mask kind of where we want it. So obviously you don't want it to stick off the back of the glass onto the glass like this. You don't want it touching that rubber on the inside, so we need to have enough room for it to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab a tape measure. We're going to kind of get it where we want it, and then we'll measure right to left, making sure it's nice and square, and we'll lay some masking tape down so we have an idea where it needs to go. And then we'll clean it really good, hook up the antenna, and get this thing seated. So kind of how we did this is we set it in place. Now we're not glued down yet or stuck down. Measured, all right, so I measured from the back to this gap right here, this opening. I did the same thing in the front. So we've got it nice and centered, got a nice even amount of gap in the back. We're not touching any of the rubber part of the antenna base itself, the old one. And so at this point, we need to take this thing off here, and we're gonna go ahead and screw in the connection for the antenna. So you can see this guy here. We're gonna go ahead and get that in place. And then we're gonna go ahead and clean this, holy cow. We're gonna clean the surface area off, and we're gonna attempt to stick it down here. So it comes with 2 screws. It comes with a Phillips and a flathead. And I don't know, I guess maybe this is meant to fit, you know, multiple vehicles, but I'm just cleaning this with the 3M adhesive remover. And like I said, guys, this is why I paint corrected this area, is because I knew I wouldn't be able to get close once I got this on. So let that dry off, and then he went to grab a flathead screwdriver so we can get this thing screwed on. So that'll be fun, trying to get this. It comes with the washer, and I'm assuming the washer goes on the top. And I'm gonna put this piece facing forward. All right, what we got? You lock it back? Yeah. Both? Yeah. All right, so we've got that in there. So now we just need to peel this off, and it is slit. Now they said to put a piece of tape on it, kind of fold it over, but I don't like that method. So I'm gonna have him hold the light back here, since we're, actually, why don't you shut the garage? That'll give us enough light. And then we'll pull that off and try to stick it down. Okay, the closing the garage didn't give us quite enough light, but just be careful when you're peeling this off, not to peel any of that. Of course, the bucket I'm standing on is moving. Good. It also said to test the radio reception before you pushed it down, but look, I don't think it's going anywhere. We got it nice and clean. Hopefully it stays down. If not, we'll put some 3M. I don't know what kind of two-sided tape they use. Hopefully it's good. I think it looks nice. Definitely better. Now that we've got the good looking antenna on, there is a couple things that I did off camera. I did put some of that same panel bond that I used on the spoiler on that clip that goes into the headliner. So, and it's been setting for a couple days. I think we're probably good at this point to try it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and push that up into place. We're gonna leave the package tray and probably the back seats out here until the window tint gets installed. And I still need to go over the windows a couple more times, especially back here in the back. I know I've said that a couple times, but I've been lazy. But other than that, he's inside doing homework right now. Hopefully he can come out and help in a second. But I wanna clean this off before we put, you can see the windshield wipers hanging over there. I wanna clean this off before we put those in place. And I'm just gonna be using the same stuff that he used on the front bumper. Now look, this is just kind of cleaning some of the junk off of it. To be honest with you, this thing needs washed, and we're gonna do all this stuff when we paint correct it. But before I get these on here, I wanna go ahead and spray this down and get this area clean. This will kind of go in between opening the hood, shutting the hood, cleaning this whole panel. I really wanted to take it off, but it felt like it was gonna break and I didn't wanna mess with it. So we're just gonna clean it in place. I'm just gonna use a brush, some of this, and a couple microfibers. But after that, I did get some new windshield wipers I ordered on Amazon, the actual blades themselves. You guys know we painted the factory actual arm. So we'll just put it back in place. And yeah, I think we're getting closer. Well, you can see that I went over that. Actually went over it a couple times and it looks way better. Now look guys, this is not going to darken it up. That will be later. Once we paint correct this, we'll worry about that. But it's mainly to get the embedded dirt, the waxes, the oils out of it. So that's what it's for. That's what we're doing here. So either way, we've got that off. So now let's go grab the windshield wipers. I'll show you what I bought. Nothing real special, but I will tell you guys that if you don't buy ones that are meant for the car, and these are really odd links. There's like one really short one and one really long one. But if you don't buy the right ones, then you're gonna have issues with them fitting on. So I suggest buying something that you know is gonna fit, and then you won't have those issues as far as like clipping them onto the actual wiper arm. So these are what I chose to get. Similar design to like what the factory would have, but they have that bend in them. They set nice up against the glass. So all we have to do, guys, is clip these in, and I'm not gonna be able to do it with one hand, unfortunately, but these are side specific, so they're not the same, and I don't have any idea. I don't remember which one goes where. Probably should have marked them somehow. I may have to go back and look in the video, but you can see this one here has more of a curve, whereas this one has kind of an S in it. So we'll just have to see. I'm probably gonna have to look at a picture, honestly, to see which one goes on first, because I do not remember. So I think I got it figured out. They're not bolted down yet, but the really long one that doesn't have the S in it, it goes on the passenger side, and the shorter one with the S in it goes on the driver's side. Now, these windshield wipers, I went ahead and put those in place. All they do, guys, is you slide them in, and then there's two little prongs on the back side that clip them in place, and they don't go anywhere. I read some people complaining about some other brands, so this brand fits perfect. There's no issues with the clips. Somebody said that there's another brand on there listed for G8 that doesn't work. So we're gonna go with these. I think they're pretty close to where I want them positioned. Generally, there used to be a line on the window that told you where you wanted your blade to set. I just would like these to set out of, out of the line of sight while you're driving, and then obviously not come up over the top. So I'm pretty close, I think. You can move them around a little bit, but once you cinch them down, obviously you're committed at that point. Now you could always unbolt them and move them if you didn't like their position, but I think we're gonna go ahead and put our 15s on there and get our caps in place. Oh, and we need to hook these guys up, the windshield wiper squirters. I didn't do that yet, so we need to do that. So the other way you can kind of tell is because this line is longer. I left those on. So that line's pretty long. And the other one, when I first test fitted, this other one wouldn't fit where it needed to be. So let's get those on. And we'll get our 15s and get these bolted down. So I actually moved them a couple times because I didn't like the way they lined up. Now you can see they're almost in a straight line. And so you want to test them and make sure that they're not hitting. I did test them, and look, this one wipes up to right here. I don't know if you could, yeah, you could see the dirt line there. I don't necessarily think that I want to move it up anymore. So we could move it up and it'd wipe, a little closer to the edge, but then we're going to be staring at it. It's going to be like in this line of sight, and I just don't like the look of that. So honestly, at this point, I think that's going to work. You can move these, you can put them wherever you want. You just want to make sure they don't go off on the bottom and obviously don't go off on the top. The rest of it's really more aesthetic looking. So now that we've got that done, I went ahead and tightened the bolts down. All we need to do is snap the caps in. Now we have those caps on. It's looking so much better, guys. And a little trick, one of my caps was faded. I'm gonna put some stuff on it when I do this panel below. But the non-faded one was the one that, was hidden under here out of the UV. So I switched them. But either way, it is looking way better. Like I said, he's inside doing homework, and I just wanted to throw these on. They were laying on the kitchen table making me nuts, and those hanging up there, banging around, I didn't want them to get chipped up. So I wanted to finish this up. And this is the last thing we're gonna be doing in this video, guys. We got a lot accomplished. Obviously, we got the wiper arms painted and on. We got new wiper blades, all this stuff, of course, guys, I'll link below. But new headlights, I am really excited about the headlights. They're so much brighter, as you guys can see. The one thing I will say is it's gonna make me feel a lot better about him driving at night to have a brighter headlight. Like we live in the kind of somewhat out in the country, so deer jumping across the road and whatnot, maybe it'll give him a little more of a chance if he does have to drive at night. So other than that, we got the hood struts, which made a huge difference. Now we don't have to prop the hood up with a pair of vice grips. And then we got the spoiler on, and the fog lights in as well. Oh, the antenna, that was one of the biggest differences as far as appearance goes, in my opinion, was getting that antenna on. But yeah, it's coming together. Now, like I said, I did glue this clip. You guys can't really see it, but there's two clips that go in the back of the headliner, and one of them was completely broken off. I'm assuming because somebody messed with a third brake light. It had like a Pontiac logo back there. And look, when people don't know how to take stuff apart the correct way, that generally is what happens. So I used some of the panel bond, like I said, that I used on the spoiler. We're gonna see if it holds. I'm not really ready to tackle that yet. I really wanna leave this off and the package tray out until the windows are tinted, because I want him to tint straight across this, because a lot of times you'll get bugs in here and it just looks like crap. So in my opinion, if we have a layer of tint over that, we won't have to look at the bugs, at least if they get inside that third brake light. The other thing is I do have a new third brake light. I'll try to show you guys that when we do finish up, but that's gonna be a while. Like I said, my window tinting appointment's a little ways down the road. But all in all, it's cleaning up. I think the next thing we're gonna do on this, guys, is it needs a good wash down. So we're gonna scrub it down. Once we get it scrubbed, then I will show you guys the paint correction process, because you can see all the marring in it, but you can also see in the areas, like I did this small spot on the hood. I did that entire deck lid that you could see. I did the section up here around the little shark fin. You can see the difference there. So this thing's gonna clean up really, really well. The paint's still in good shape, just needs to be addressed. But hopefully you guys are enjoying this. If you are, please guys, like always, go down there and smash that thumbs up button. Guys, if you are not subscribed, you gotta go down there, hit that subscribe button. Of course, ring the bell icon that notifies you every single time we drop a new video, and stay tuned to see this car really clean up.